Hello, welcome back to the second part of the Les Paul guitar build. Bit of a tongue twister. Right, we've got lots to do, so let's get over on the bench and get started. So I had a bit of a rethink on the neck. I was going to leave it the natural wood colour, but as you can see I've actually dyed it the same as the body. As this was against the actual body, it looked unfinished. It didn't look like it was part of the actual guitar. It looks a little bit stupid, so I've masked off the actual fretboard, and now I'm going to oil the neck just for a nice smooth sort of semi-gloss finish with the Crimson Guitars penetrating finishing oil. I'll probably do 3 or 4 coats. You apply it with a 1200 paper, just wet and dry paper, to get a nice smooth finish. You let it dry to a tack, buff off the excess, and then reapply again with the 1200 paper till you get to a nice sheen. It's quite flammable, so I've read online, so I will dispose of the tissues quite carefully, probably soak them in water before I get rid of them. So definitely a pair of gloves job. So gloves on, and then give it a bit of a shake, as you do. And get 1200. So I'm going to go for a nice smooth gloss finish. It smells quite nice. I suppose as this penetrates as well, it'll with the 1200 it should smooth off the neck as well, make a nice smooth finish, which will be nice for playing. It's bringing out the grain nice. You can see that on camera, looks really nice. Just for the first coat. Yeah, it's bringing a little bit of dye off, but that's fine. So the scarf joint, showing that up, looks nice as well. I think you have to leave it to dry for 10 to 15 minutes depending on temperature. I've only just come into the workshop, so I've only just put the heater on, so it's a little bit cool in here. So I'll probably leave it a little bit longer, probably just over lunch, and then I'll buff it off. Yeah, I think you have to leave it till it goes to like a almost like a tacky finish, so it's got like a resistance to it. And then I'll buff it off with a nice cloth and then reapply. I'll probably do 4 or 5 coats, I think, get a nice finish. I might actually just dispense this into a little pot. I'm going to do the other thing is I seem to be wasting a bit on the table there. Yes. Taking a little bit of colour off there, but I don't mind that actually. Yeah, that sort of semi-relic look. I'll just pour a bit on there actually. Smells quite nice, not overpowering. Got some lemon oil coming for the fretboard and the fret file, so we'll be doing those as well. It feels really smooth. Right, leave that to sit and just settle in, and then we'll buff that off. And then we'll reapply. Yeah, it's taking some colour off there, but like I said, I don't mind that. And I've been thinking about the got it everywhere, look. Been thinking about the body narrow dents in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to see if I can repair it with a little bit of car body filler, automotive car body filler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can dent this test piece, dent it with a hammer, see if I can fill it with a little bit of car body filler. I'm going to have to change my gloves now, I've got oil on them. If I can stain the car body filler to the same sort of stain, I'll get rid of that dent and try and disguise it as much as possible. So I'll just grab my hammer, just a old claw hammer, so I just give that a bit of a... So that's worse than the actual thing there, I think, so that should be good. So I'll just get a bit of car body filler out. So I'm going to try and use a little bit of this David's Isopon P38. Cool. Smell takes me back. Tiny little bit like that. I'm just going to mix it on a piece of cardboard. Then use a little bit, tiny bit of hardener. Okay, so I can just fill that. Something like that, I think. So I can just do that and then flat that down, then stain it up to a similar sort of colour. Get the excess off, because I can always put another coat on and build it up slowly. It has been playing on my mind, that dent in the back of the guitar. It is a bit annoying really, so I can fix it this method. I'm quite happy. So what I'll do is it's also pink as well because I put the extra hardener in it, so it might even work as a bit of a benefit as well. So I'll leave that to dry, give that a good 10-15 minutes, and then we'll check the neck as well, and then we'll sand this down, see if we can stain it to match. Okay, so that's dried quite nice. I'll just give that a bit of a flat. There's a little dent there still, but this is just to actually check whether the stain will actually take into the actual filler. If it does, I'll probably just fill that little bit on the back of the guitar, I think. Yeah, it needs another thing, you can still feel the dent there. But just try a little bit of stain. So I've got some in the pot. Yeah, I think that will work. Yeah, so I'm going to do that, I think. Yeah, may get a little slight different coloration in the wood, but with the paint on there as well, I think it might be alright. It's better than having a great big dent in the thing, which has been playing on my mind and annoying me quite a lot. I'll whack a load more on there, and then I'll bring the guitar body in and we'll fill it, I think. Yeah, right, okay. So first I'm going to quickly rub down the neck. Some paper towel, I think. See if I can buff that up. And then we'll do another coat of actual penetrating oil on this. Feel a lot smoother. Don't mind it taking some of the dye off. Just looks less obvious than the natural finish. Looks alright. Yeah, that feels lovely. Just for one coat, feels really nice. Yeah, another coat of that then. I'll just put some paper down first, since I keep spilling it. Again, I'll be applying it with the 1200 paper. And then when this is done, we'll move this out of the way and I'll fill the back of the guitar body, remembering to change the gloves so I don't want to get oil on the body. When I come to paint I'll have reactions, etc. So I'm going to be quite careful with that. So I was actually hung up from the ceiling, so I'll probably do it up there actually, I think, so I keep away from the actual oil from the neck. Right. Yeah, it's a bit easier. Goes on quite nice actually, this paper. Quite liking that actually, that little bit of, looks like wear on the neck there. It's more of a patina sort of look. Right, I'll let that dry for about 10-15 minutes. It's getting warm in here now because the heat's been on for a while, so it shouldn't take too long. Put that on there, I think. So, okay, right. Swap my gloves, mix up a little bit of filler, and see if I can repair that bit in the body. Okay, so I'm just mixing up a little bit of car body filler again. I've gone a little bit heavy with the hardener to give it that pink tinge. If you can see that. So hopefully that should help with the colour match. I'm going to try and keep it as local as possible. I think something like that. There's a scratch there as well, wasn't there? I should have really done this before the stain, but you live and learn. And then I'll probably restain the entire back of the guitar again, I think. Yeah, I might have to do another line there, I think. Don't play with it, leave it alone, let it dry. Turn a bit more in there. Okay, let's leave it and see what happens. I get all that off around the outside edge actually. Yeah, that's a lot better. I'll just stand the entire back. Just this bit here, you can see that like a halo around it. I'm going to try and get rid of that. So that will affect the final paint, I think. Let's go into something slightly coarser first. So just grab another razor blade if I can scrape that. It's left this sort of like a resin halo around the outside edge. Let's see if I can get rid of most of that, and then I'll restain the entire back. Like I said before, I'm going to go a little bit heavy with the candy here on the back anyway. I just didn't like that dent in it, it was just getting on my nerves. Might need a tiny bit more filler, but we'll see. Okay, I think I'm going to lay this down on a different part of the actual bench and see if I can restain that and make that look half decent. Or the wood dye. Concentrate on that area first, if I can just restain that there. Still there a little bit. Still better than having that great big dent in it, I think. Like I said, I should have done this first really. Can darken that area up. If I can make it look like a knot in the wood, that would be ideal. Which I don't think it looks too bad now. Once I get the clear coat and the candy on it and I've flattened it back to a flat finish, I don't think it's going to look too bad. Better than a massive dent in the thing. I think You'll agree. Just dry, lovely colour this, like a really nice sort of pinky cherry red, I suppose. That's why it's called cherry red. There we go. Not too bad. Disguise a little bit of pen. Might do a little bit more on there in a sec. Just rub that back. Let's get them back in there a bit. A bit pink. In there as well. Let's give that a quick wipe over. So and blend it in a little bit. That pen I'm using is not actually permanent, so I can find a permanent pen, like a Sharpie or something. I think I could probably live with that. Yeah, it still looks like a bit of a mark in it. Put a bit more black on there. I can just... almost better. Disguise it a little bit. I think that'll do. See what that looks like when it's dry. Blending in a little bit. It's just, there's a little mark there still, but once I put the clear coat on there, it's shiny now because it's still wet. But once that's dry, and then little clear coats over the top of it, I think that will look too bad. Drop me a comment below, tell me what you think. Let's put that out there now. Blend it in. Better than a dent. Definitely better than a dent, because that was really starting to wind me up. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. Once the clear coat's on it, like I say, and it's all been flattered, it's just going to look like a knot in the wood, I think. So let me know what you think. Quite like how it's gone dark through there as well, that's quite nice. Okay, we'll leave that to dry now, and then the next stage on this will be the candy coat. Let's give it that nice gloss red faded finish. Okay, back to the neck. So it should be, yeah, it's got that nice resistance feel to it, so I'll give that a buff off. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's really nice actually. Really nice smooth finish to it. I think I'm going to do some more coats. It's really a nice glossy finish. Lots of elbow grease. I think that looks quite nice actually with that. Nice sheen coming onto it now. Feels really glossy. It's really nice. So I think a couple more coats, and then we'll see what we got. See what it's going to look like with the actual gold. Oh yeah. Cool. Again with the 1200. Let's do another coat. Right, so it's been a couple of days now, and that's probably the fourth coat of the actual wax on there. It's still a little bit tacky. I've got to buff it off yet. You see it's got a really nice sheen to it. Don't want it too glossy, don't want it too garish, make it look plasticky. I think that's quite nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that aside to dry and cure overnight, and then I'll give that a final buff. Maybe I get a coat of wax, and then I've got to dress the fret ends because they're a little bit sharp. I ordered a new fret file, but I got this like with an indentation in it. I suppose it's for the end of the fret, so you can just stroke it in. I've never used one of these this style before, so I might give that a go. I've also got a fret rocker, so I can see the frets are level. I probably won't dress the frets on this until it's actually built and see what it plays like first. but a lot of the frets actually feel quite level. Actually, there's no rocking on there at all. We can't really tell with the tape on. I suppose that's going to alter it a little bit. It all seems pretty good. But what I did do, just put that to one side, put it back in the bag, that keeps it nice and clean and safe. Put that over there. What I did do is I got one of my old files and I ground down the edge and buff the edges to a mirror finish so I can just dress the ends without actually marking the fretboard. That's the way I usually do it. But my old fret file was knackered, I'd used it too many times, so I've got this old, which is basically a cheap pin file, which I've polished the edges on so they're nice and smooth, so it shouldn't actually scratch the fingerboard at all. So I'll just basically do what I usually do on that, and then I'll buff them up with a little wet and dry sanding block. Okay, so basically goes through the grades and buff them right up and get a nice smooth shiny finish so you don't actually scratch your hands while you're playing it. So what I'm going to do next, I think I'm going to get out the clear coat and we're going to put some candy on the body. So I'll just get this out of the way and let this somewhere sit nice to dry. So we'll dig out the paint next, mix up some clear coat, put some candy in it and get it on the body. See how that looks. Okay, so I'll be using the HB Body Pro Line High Solid Clear, the hardener, but being an idiot I used my last mixing pot for the fret oil, so I can't use that now. So what I'm going to have to actually do is use this old coffee jar. I've actually marked it, the paint is 2:1 with the hardener, 2 parts clear, 1 part hardener. So what I've done is I've measured the bottom of the pot, 300, and then another 150 of hardener. So that should approximate 2:1. This is only for the candy anyway, so it should all be fine. And then I'll get some pots ordered, and then I can do the final clear after flattening the candy and the pearl, and I can put the final clear on it and get some proper pots. Like an idiot, you forget these things, don't you? Right, okay, so next step is the clear coat. Whatever it is, I can wash this pot out and reuse it if I want to. I've done that a few times already. Okay, well, I don't need that much. Let's put that to one side for now. Hardener. Lovely. Right, so now I'm going to get the candy out. I'm finding 10% of thinners in that as well, because the candy's a powder. You remember I got this from Earl's, which is quite a good custom paint supplier. Let's see how dark we're going to get this. So, start with a small amount, I think. See how dark it goes. I want it pretty dark, really, not over dark. So have a quick stir. See what? Oh yeah, you can see that. See all the best kit here. See, that's a nice deep red. It's quite thin actually, so I don't think I'm going to bother with any thinners. I want it to actually fill the grain a little bit as well. This thing will be flattered before the actual clear. The gun I'm going to be using is my DeVilbiss GTI base coat gun. It's a really good gun. I do abuse it actually. I do treat it quite badly for an expensive gun, but again, it's just a tool. I'll just get the regulator. Okay, so I can regulate the pressure, because I want it quite a low pressure. I'm probably going to jet it up so it's quite a fine fan on the end, a spray fan, because I want to try and just detail it in first. Okay, put that back in the stand. Got a nice paint filter as well. One of the most important things is a paint strainer, in case there's any bits in it. Just put the candy in there. Beautiful colour actually. You see there on the glass, you can see that's the sort of colour that's going to be on the guitar. Hopefully, all being well. I'll put that back on. Nice and safe. Not forgetting safety first, always wear a mask. Right, the guitar's already hanging up in the garage next door, so we'll pop in there and we'll get started. Right, so we're back in the garage. Guitar's all hung up ready to go. What I'll do, I'll blow all the dust off it. I'll put the compressor on in a sec, make sure there's no dust on there. And then we'll go on a light coat with the candy first, all over. Have to leave a good 10 to 15 minutes in between each coat. Especially as it's cold today, probably a little bit longer than that, but we'll see how it goes. I just want to build it up slowly, see if I can fade that repair in a little bit, make it look more like the wood. It doesn't look too bad, as long as it's flat. I'm not really bothered. And then I'm going to see about the pearl. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do the pearl on the outside yet, but we'll see. Okay, so I'll get the compressor started. It's very noisy, so here we go. Okay, we give that 10-15 minutes to cure, and then we'll do the next coat. That's curing up nicely. So what I'm going to do now is go around the whole thing. I think I'll do one more coat all over, and then on the next one I'll go just around the outside edge. So I think that's red enough in the middle now. It's quite nice. Once the clear coat's on there as well, that should bring out the actual grain a little bit more as well. Remember, this is the candy, so basically it's a tinted clear coat, so all I'm doing with this is actually just tinting the wood to make the actual finish red, rather than go for a finished look, if you know what I mean. The clear coat, the final clear coat that will go on here, is what will give it the shine and the actual depth of the piece. But yeah, it's going there so far. It's a little bit dry, because I have to use a little bit more of the clear to actually fill the grain, I think, and then once it's all dry I'll give it a good flat with some wet and dry, probably an 800, and then we'll put the clear coat on it, and this is fully cured. Okay, next coat. So let's just excuse my muffled voice. So the next stage, when this is cured, I'm going to gently gun up, so it's a really small fan. I'm going to go really gently around the outside edge, around here, and on the back, just to give it that outline and that depth, give it that sort of darker, faded, almost like a sunburst sort of look. And then I might just do a little bit of pearl added into the candy around the edge.
I think that, yeah, that's pretty much, that's perfect colour I want on the front there, a nice deep red. I think with the actual red brush hour, I think with the actual pearl around the edge as well, I should just give it that extra little bit of the bling to make, yeah, to make it a little bit more through here where the actual end grain is.
With the actual, you can hear me, with the actual end grain is I have to put a little bit more clear just to build that up, so when I wet flat it next before the final clear, and give it a nice smooth finish. But yeah, for the second coat, that's pretty much bang on. Really happy with that. So leave that to cure for another 10-20 minutes. Gonna have a cup of tea, and the next coat. Again, that's drying nicely. Got a nice little tack to it so the next coat should stick. So this time we're going to, I may do another bit more on the back, but on the front I'm happy with. So it's going to be the sides, fade it out, and fade around the edges. What I think I'm going to do next, I think I'm going to add a little bit more candy to the red just to darken it up, give it that more of an intense sort of deep look to it, and I may even add a little tiny little bit of pearl into the actual candy as well, just give it a little bit more of a bling. Well, it's getting there. I think a little bit more darkness around the edge, and I think I'll be happy with that, and I'll go over the back with it as well. Okay, so I've darkened up the candy. It's drying nice again. Whoop. Limbo. So this time, basically put the same amount of powder in the actual clear coat I had left, so then it's made the actual colour more intense, so it's less opaque. So this time it should show up a lot darker on the outside edge. I've also added a tiny bit of pearl as well, so we'll see if that makes a difference. One more around the outside edge and the back, and I'm going to be really happy. That actually looks like wood now. In there I did the little black, the Sharpie. It's more like a wood knot, so I'm happy with how that's come out. The candy's coming out lovely, really nice, just how I wanted, just how I pictured it. Okay, and that's set. Another 10-20 minutes. It's a long old process, it's starting to get dark outside now. And then we'll do the last coat, and then we'll let it sit for a couple of days, we'll wet flat it and put the final clear on it. As it's really cold in here, I'm just going to force dry it a little bit so I can put the last coat on. The temperature's starting to drop, so I'm starting to get a little run, I think, because it's starting a bit cool, so it's not actually drying as quick as I'd like. But the finish is getting there, it's getting nice. Once it's all been flattered, sorry, I'll turn this off though, you won't hear what I'm saying. Once it's been flattered and re-cleared and then re-flattened and polished, it's going to look gorgeous. Nice big run under there, look. And just wipe that off. I want to do another coat just around the outside edge, I think. Just give it that little slightly darker look. So I can dry it off a little bit. So I force dried it a little bit. Do one last coat on the front. Really happy with the colour of that now. grain still looks really nice in it. So this lacquer will act like a grain fill as well. That's where you can see all the little bubbles, etc. That's just the grain standing up. So when I flat it next, should get rid of all those bubbles, and then I'll re-clear it as well. Yep, I'm really happy with that. It's come out really nice. Grain looks really nice on the end. Just say ignore all the lines and bubbles in it, they will go, especially on the back. And that's all flattered right back, re-cleared, flattered and polished. You're not going to see any of that. I'm really happy with that dent as well. That's come out quite nice. You're hardly going to see that. So now all I've got to do is let that cure, probably for 3 or 4 days, and then we'll flat it, re-clear it, let that cure for another 3 or 4 days, flat it and polish it, and then we can start building it. Just imagine that with all the gold hardware on, it's going to look gorgeous. Yeah, really happy. So, I hope you like this video. Second part. Starting to get interesting now. Third part, again, will be more painting. Just a clear coat this time. No pearl, no candy. Oh, nice dark on the edge there, that's perfect, it's just how I wanted it. So please like, comment and subscribe. And I hope to see you on the next one.